Welcome to the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show, a broadcast service of globalbusinessnews.net.
Now, here's your host, Ed Cohen.
Hi, this is Ed Cohen, your broadcast host on Global TV Talk Show, business service of globalbusinessnews.net. Want you to go and check that out, globalbusinessnews.net. You're going to find some really new, some very cool things. Okay, our special guest today is Harry Salzman, who I've known for a long time from the relocation industry. Harry is a professional businessman, and we're going to have a conversation today about Colorado Springs as a destination for people who want to retire or just invest or get out of the city and move to open air, clean air, safety, cleanliness, old Americana, but today. So let's welcome Harry Salzman. Hi there.
And hello to you too, Ed.
Hey, welcome to the Global TV Talk Show. Harry, we're going to talk about U.S. relocation, real estate, and we're going to have a focus on you and on your business in Colorado Springs. All right, Colorado Springs as a destination. So I want you to tell us briefly about Colorado Springs, and then we'll do a deep dive into you. Okay, so first of all, Colorado Springs is what, about 90 minutes south of Denver? Is that correct?
No, we're a lot quicker than that. In fact, closer to 45, 50 minutes, right on I-25.
Yeah, how fast do you go for that?
Well, the I-25 allows 75 miles an hour.
Yeah, okay, so that means 80, right?
Yeah. No, because they absolutely make a lot of money on tickets, and we all
I see. That. Yeah, okay, that's great. All right, so how long have you lived in Colorado Springs?
Well, Ed, when I graduated from Arizona State in '69, my first job took me to Denver. I was with an investment banking company, and I was young. Yes, I thought I knew it all and securities, et cetera, but I was too young to really make it. So in 1972, I left Denver and heard about Colorado Springs. So I came down here, said, wow, what a place to live. Why do I have to put up with the big cities? At the time, the population here was about 125,000 people. Looking around, it says, look at these mountains. I got to see Pikes Peak, the Front Range, et cetera, et cetera. Said, what a nice place to live. So I decided this was going to be where I was going to move and start a new career.
Good quality of life, clean air, and low crime rate, right?
Throughout the years, absolutely.
Yeah, geez, that's really great. Okay, so you've been a very successful person in business, in residential real estate, and you are an expert in the area, and you have been a champion, as I understand it, of referrals, inbound, outbound, relocation advice to others throughout the industry for a number of years. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So I remember in the old days, I mean, going back, I don't know whether it was last century, maybe, but for the All Points relocation service. And we had meetings in Toronto and other cool places, and visiting Niagara Falls and doing all the fun things, which we won't get into in this time. But so tell me about, is it all old people living in Colorado Springs, or is it, I understand the Air Force Academy is there. So how big is the government there? So I'm asking you a whole bunch of questions to tee it up.
Okay, so depending on where to start. So today, the population of the city is about 485,000 current population. And when you take a look at the county-wise outside of the city, we now are about 780,000 population, maybe even a little more, but right around that number today. And we've had consistent growth. Growth is terrific. And you see, here's why I really understand that. Because when I got started here in 72, I figured, well, if I'm going to get started in real estate, I better start to learn some decision makers. So I joined the Chamber of Commerce way back then. And then they created the economic development, and I was asked to be a part of that. So what turned place was we had meetings and how are we going to get jobs to this fabulous community to grow to? And there were about 27 guys put together, and we just knew what we wanted. We're all types of businessmen. And what I'll never forget, and what really started me in the relocation industry, is I got to knock some corporate doors, and we took a flight to Chicago. And that would have been in like 1975. And we were in groups of three people at a knock on corporate doors. And I'll never forget, I got to knock on the door and meet the CEO of Litton Corporation. Fast forward, not too long later, I get a call back. Hey, can you tell us about Colorado Springs? We're thinking about moving there. I said, I'll see you shortly. So I'll never forget, talked to Bob Isaac, who was the mayor at the time. What do you want me to represent for the city? What can we do? What can I throw on the table? What do we give away to bring the jobs here? And it was interesting. He says, well, you know, none of us have done this before. Figure it out. And for sure, our elected people will certainly provide bonuses to bring jobs to town. So that's before really the corporate relocation sector got created, what you had to give to get jobs, et cetera. We got started with that in the mid 1970s. And I was a fortunate part of that group.
So, Paul, let's run that video now, and let's take a look at Colorado Springs today and how the economic development people, including Harry and others, and many women involved in this now, I'm sure, are promoting the diversity and the opportunity right now that is going on in Colorado Springs. Okay, very nice. So Harry, I see the mountains in the background, and Pikes Peak is nearby. So, how long does it take you to drive from downtown that we just saw, the downtown business center, to Pikes Peak?
As you get on US West 24 from downtown, maybe 10 minutes would take you
Really?
to take you to the entrance to start uh, the drive to the top of Pikes Peak.
Yeah.
And oh,
Wow.
by the way, that's where the song America the Beautiful was written.
Wow, I didn't know that. Isn't that great? Yeah. So, who wrote America the Beautiful,
Written by
or who
Karen.
sang it? Some.
Yeah. So,
No, we should have that song on the show. Wow.
yeah, America the Beautiful, absolutely.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I heard it, let's see, a number of times on Thanksgiving Day because that is such a popular song. That's all about America the Beautiful. And what we get to see here, absolutely, Purple Mountain Majesties are in the Front Range. We see it right in the Front Range of the Rockies.
So why are they purple? Is that sunset or sunrise?
That's what's really in the ground. That's the real world. Sometimes when the sun shines, they even get purple. But that's what we're fortunate to view right here in our hometown.
Wow, that's special. Okay, so now let's talk a bit about yourself. How long have you been in the real estate business?
This is yeah, this is year 47. I wouldn't know what else to do.
Okay, so one of your specialties, as I understand it, because you and I know each other, is that you've been an executive with the Relocation Directors Council and of counsel to them for many years, and part of the whole deal with you is the money, the financial issue, the capability of financing tough projects, and this is what you've taught others. So if you could just do a little deep dive about your specialty, about your understanding of the money market and how it applies to the residential real estate business.
Well, you bet, because I check out the wholesale money market every morning on Wall Street. I'm able to do that even as a realtor. That's published in the Wall Street Journal. And I take a look at what wholesale money is in 15-year, 30-year mortgages. I also see what the retail price is. To give you the example today, for anyone to get a 15-year loan, you can get that rate today is 2 1/8 to 2.25%. If you want a 30-year fix today, we're probably 2 5/8 to 2 3/4.
So today's date, just for the listening audience, because the audience will be worldwide and 6 months, 8 months, 12 months from now. So today's date is November 30, 2020. And we've got a new government coming in and new economic vitality that's going to spring forward as we get into the new year, and not only because of the calendar, but because of the vaccines coming and a sense of confidence and renewal and rebirth of the American spirit. So let's talk about home buying. Even during the pandemic, home buying has been a pretty good thing, hasn't it been?
Absolutely, Ed. And let me share with you and the worldwide audience of what's our relative strength of market conditions today. And I'm going to read this so that I get the numbers
You got
proper.
it.
So as of the end of October, and this is through the single family patio homes here in Colorado Springs. So the average price is 432,477, which is up 16.2% in the last 12 months. And a median sales price is 383,447, which is up 14.5% in the last 12 months. So You can call it an average of about a 15% appreciation here in Colorado Springs of a single family home.
Now, doesn't that mean that if I had been fortunate enough to do business with you and buy a home a year or so ago, that the paper value at the time would be up that percentage that you mentioned?
That's absolutely correct. And the appreciation is accurate. And we've also dealt with appraisers here because they also have been given the right data. So personally, I have not had any issue with an appraisal of a sale of a single family home. The appraisers are accepting the appreciation here, and that is a part of our real world in processing a sale.
Great. Okay, now we have a couple of pictures, Paul, if you have those ready. We want to show some scenes and some property. So this is the Red Rock Garden of the Gods, is that right?
Yes, that's correct. That's a city park, about 1,400 acres.
Yeah, I see that there's trails, and so it's pretty safe, huh, during the day. Okay, and now describe what we're looking at here.
We're looking at downtown toward the sun going away. It's probably an evening photo.
Yeah, that's west, looking west. And what's that big building right in the middle there?
The big building, that's right downtown. That's a 14 floor. And a lot of the big major corporations have headquarters in that building.
Okay, great. And what do we have next? Is that Pikes Peak?
It sure is. And that photo is right off of my deck.
Wow, oh, now that's pretty good. So,
what you see on the screen, by the way, that's a shot looking through the Garden of the Gods at Pikes Peak.
yeah,
And what's interesting, where you see the change in the color, where you see the snow beginning on that straight line,
yeah,
that straight line is at 12,000 feet. And that's also where anything growing stops, because above that, the air is no longer able for anything to grow. That's
yeah.
at 12,000 feet. And the top is 14,110.
Yeah. And so your elevation where you are now is what, 6,000 to 7,000, right?
Correct. Personally, on my street, we're just over 6,700 feet elevation.
Yeah. So does it take much getting used to being in that elevation?
Most people are told if they're coming here on a few days on a vacation, you really need to drink a whole lot of water, because your system's going to know you're in a higher altitude. And that's just kind of normal. A lot of people who visit here, whether you're a tourist or even you're visiting family, you really need to drink a lot of water.
Yeah. Okay. So what about walking around? I mean, drinking water while walking?
A lot of people do that. That's a real fact.
Yeah. So what about beer consumption? So that has water in it.
Well, gee, up the road about, let's call it 80, 90 miles is headquarters of Coors. So therefore, you bring up beer. Well, that's why with the great water in the stream, that's obviously what created that beer.
Clean water.
Long time ago.
Yeah. Really clean, natural springs. Perfect. Okay, so let's talk about schools. All right, public schools.
Well, the public schools here, again, we're really fortunate because of the quality of public education. That's another one of the reasons why a lot of corporations enjoy the growth. Corporations like to come here. That is, again, one of the major questions if they relocate here. Are the families are going to be comfortable with public schools? And the answer is absolutely correct. We have a lot of publications here and people here who are here, all having to do with the upper end of education. It's really not only in demand, but we experience very strong public education here in Colorado Springs.
So I assume it being in cowboy land, that horseback riding is pretty popular.
Well, yes, that's out in the country. We have a lot of areas where if you'd be into having your personal horses, you can have homes on 5 acres that are, 10 to 15 minutes right next to the city. That's a very popular, again, type of housing neighborhoods that we also have right here.
So in that nice video that we just saw, a lot of high tech. A lot of high tech.
Yeah, high tech is a very, very strong sector of our economy. Not only with high tech, but also Department of Defense. That sector, and because there's a lot of the tech companies who are also part of a Department of Defense, the status of our economy is about 41%, having to do with Department of Defense and the different organizations who are here, like the Air Force Academy, Fort Carson, Peterson Field, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, so, and it's an Olympic training site too, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Tell us
And
about that.
therefore, that's one of the reasons too, because we have a higher level of educated people who are here.
Yeah, so the Olympic Training Center, that's clean air, good weather. What goes on there that makes it so special?
Well, the Olympic headquarters is here, and it's also what they call home to 24 national governing bodies. That is right here in Colorado Springs, and we have home base to over 15,000 elite athletes visit and train right here in Colorado Springs on an annual basis. And athletes from many countries also come here, train with and play with the United States Olympic teams. So we get to see that.
So,
See that.
So this obviously permeates the environment of young, healthy, fit people, particularly in the school systems where there's so much emphasis on physical fitness.
Absolutely. Physical fitness is a very, very big deal here. That's why trails are used for walkers, bikers, uh, etc. And people, because of the air, the purity, uh, that's just part of a higher quality of life that people enjoy. You can look out on your street, usually see neighbors taking a walk. Very, very normal here throughout the community.
Yeah, and safety is the key. Sort of like a refreshing um, look and feel of Americana, from a G-rated point of view.
Well, that's absolutely correct. And that's why I want to share some time all about some neighborhoods, about housing, talking about some statistics,
Well,
because
let's
that's
do
also what
that.
makes people
Yeah, let's do a
happy.
deep dive. So, are the neighborhoods around the colleges? You have two or three colleges in town, right?
A whole lot more. I
Yeah.
mean, yes, there's the University of Colorado at Colorado Springs, which has today a little over 12,000 students, very, very strong economy. And we've also had some consistent growth in buildings uh, in the UCCS campus. In fact, what just opened this September was what's called the Sports Management Complex, which again is very unique. It's great to raise graduates all into sports, fitness, and again, it's also a marriage with the Olympic Training Center here.
So you said sports management. So is that the business side of it?
Yeah, this is to where students not only want to learn everything to do with sports, because who knows what sport they might want to end up working in when they graduate, their career, et cetera. But also it's fitness, and it's also a growth of the medical industry from Denver to train new doctors in education here at this altitude.
Okay, so what we have is a Center for Sports Management, higher education, continuing education, tech, and a lot of outdoorsy stuff. And so with sports management comes hospitality management, and also comes, um, well, branding
Tourism.
and marketing, and oh yeah, tourism. So all of that is depending upon a healthy economy everywhere else, so people can drive in or fly into Colorado Springs. So the Colorado Springs Airport is uh, pretty active, right? Frontier is right there, right?
Well, let's do a whole lot bigger and better than that, because only about a week and a half ago, there was an announcement that Southwest Airline is coming to Colorado Springs.
Hmm.
They're going to begin
I love
flight.
Southwest.
Yeah, of course, we've been waiting for this. And they've been schmoozed and schmoozed by our mayor, our city chamber, and all the leaders for a
Yeah, economic
long time.
development.
Long time. So meanwhile, the decision took place in October. The announcement was just a few weeks ago. And beginning in March, it looks like we're going to have between 10 and 12 flights a day to a number of the big cities in USA.
Yeah,
All due to Southwest Airlines, which is
well,
fabulous. And we also take a look at the spin-offs of jobs that the community is going to get bringing an employer like that to town.
so let's talk about the neighborhoods around the colleges, okay? I know they're probably quite diverse with rentals, larger homes, smaller starter homes. Um, what's the price range? So let's just say uh, young people out of college a few years, they're 28, 30 years old now. getting married. Okay, so they one kid, maybe another one planned. Um, what's the typical price range for that kind of a cute home in
Well, in
those
terms of,
areas around the colleges?
sure, well, around the colleges, you see, those neighborhoods would have been built many decades ago. So in this community, I'd say students are probably going to be uh, in a home, shall we say. They could be, 10, 15, sometimes 20 minutes away to get them into a newer home. So there's different ways to look at it in this community because of where the growth neighborhoods really have taken place. Uh, so the rest of the story, Ed, like we talked about, I'd like to go into uh, the 5-year appreciation along with the 10, because today, and this is extremely important, and probably no matter where you're looking at a home anywhere in USA, don't look at the price of the house today. Let's look at the monthly payment. Most important, because of these interest rates, even though the appreciation has gone up, like I mentioned, about 15%, but your monthly payment has really decreased. And not only here in Colorado Springs, but across the country. So we can talk about the appreciation of the home as an investment, which is a fabulous rate of return, but also if you can qualify, ownership is absolutely less than renting here in Colorado Springs.
Give me an example. I know you have your numbers in front of you, being a math guy. And so if somebody bought 5 years ago, as opposed to buying today, what's the relative nature of all that? Give us a quickie.
Sure, some quickie. Ed, I sent you this sheet called Real Estate as an Investment, Single Family Homes in Colorado Springs.
Yes.
If you can't pull that up, let me share with the audience what the numbers look like, okay?
Yeah, why don't you do that?
Okay, so in the last 5-year appreciation, as I mentioned before, so let's just take, and I'm showing a chart of both average and median, so that I'm not sending out too many numbers. Let's just take the median price, okay? So this October, last month, the median price here was 383,447.
And what do you
That's
get
the
for that?
price.
What would you have
And
bought for that?
that can get you a nice, in an average neighborhood, you could probably find 2,500 square feet. You could get a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2-car garage, a yard of about 6,000 to 7,000 square feet.
What about a basement?
Absolutely, that square footage that I mentioned is part of the home, of course, and a basement is in every home here.
So that square footage you just said, would that include a basement?
Yes, it does. And why? Because the basements here are nothing like East Coast, et cetera, because here, a lot of the topography of a lot means that the slope of the lot means that the basement, you have what's called a walkout. So you can walk out to the backyard from your lower level. Also, that also means that you've got a lot of natural light from the windows in the basement here, which doesn't happen for sure east part of the country and many, many others.
So are you saying that the basement is not underground?
Well, part of it is, and
I see.
some of the basements do not have a walkout, but a whole lot of them do because of the topography of the lots.
So then, and now a word from our co-sponsors. Our programs wouldn't happen without the wonderful support of our advertisers. Here they are.
Something that's really neat is that the Bridge School partners with various organizations to provide learning for their students. For example, we partner with a major ballet company, and we are able to enroll several of their students into our school. So now not only is the student able to participate in a school and have a seamless transition while they're very active in their ballet career, but now they have other dancers that are with them that are doing some of the same courses. So it's almost becoming a camaraderie where they're taking similar courses, they're working together on their ballet, and really being able to form this great partnership with these organizations to provide a needed service. A lot of times there are student athletes who will spend hours and hours at the gym or at the basketball courts, wherever it is. And if they're attending a traditional school, they're in school from 8 to 3. They get a quick snack, and then they're at the gym for 3 to 4 hours in the evening. Coming to us and having that partnership, they're able to break that up throughout the day. They can have a morning practice, get some schooling in, have an afternoon practice, finish their schooling in the evening. So there's that flexibility. And additionally, if there are tournaments or performances, it's fantastic because if there's a week where they have shows straight through, they can take that week off of learning and then pick back up when they're done. So it offers this great flexibility. And for the program owners of these sports leagues, it is a win-win situation for them because they see this need. They see this need that their students need to make sure that they are obtaining the grades necessary to be successful adults in our country and in other countries. But it provides them an environment where they can be successful at both.
This episode from the meeting room of Global TV Talk Show is brought to you by
The Bridge School, the accredited international online private school of choice, at bridgek12.org.
Porch Light Rental and Destination Services. Reduce your renter lump sum or managed relocation costs. Visit them at porchlightrental.com.
Cube Monk, featuring the world's first smart cube. Track your goods with our advanced GPS system. Welcome to the future of moving and relocation at cubemonk.com.
Primestone Partners, featuring corporate, government, and developer housing solutions, as well as senior-level advisory services. Find them at primestonepartners.com.
And by heirs.com. With our full range of services, we can help design and manage your international relocation. Find us at heirs.com.
Insured Nomads provides protection and peace of mind, with health insurance, travel insurance, group, or tailored insurance for the globally mobile. Visit us at insurednomads.com.
And by International Auto Source. We are the vehicle experts for expats, featuring all major brands of automobiles with flexible solutions and financing. On the web at intlauto.com.
Hi, my name is Christine. I'm a nurse from the Philippines, and I got to know IAS through Worldwide Health Staff Solutions. And I want to thank IAS, especially to Matthew, for helping me get my car stress-free, headache-free. And so I just want to show you the car that I got. So it's a RAV4 XLE 2020.
As an expat moving to the USA, relocating is exciting, but it can also be stressful. Getting a car, truck, or SUV for personal transportation is usually a high priority. That's where International Auto Source comes in. We make getting the vehicle you want for your work assignment or academic program easy, so you're ready to drive when you arrive. Our product specialists have helped over 50,000 expatriates with their personal transportation needs, making us the largest international auto retailer in the world. International Auto Source gives you flexible payment options to buy, lease, or rent a vehicle from the world's leading auto brands, arrange financing on a purchase or lease without a U.S. credit history, social security number, or driving record, get full insurance coverage, and get approved easily through our low-rate factory-backed financing programs. And because we're an authorized distributor of the world's leading automotive brands, our no-haggle prices are competitive, and the buying experience is hassle-free. We'll even guarantee your new vehicle will be ready the day you arrive. With over 20 years of experience in the global community, we are the vehicle experts for expats. We are International Auto Source.
So then the garage will be sort of adjacent to the basement.
No, the garage is next to the flat part of the home. So in other words, the garage is probably on the same level as you walk into the main level of either a ranch, multi-level, two-story, etc.
Yeah. So it sounds like there's a lot of space, a lot of living space.
Absolutely, totally practical. And so let's get back to the numbers again and show why it's important. So the 5-year appreciation, and this is what's very important. So 5 years ago, in October of 2015, the median price was $234,900. So the change in the last 5 years is 63.23%, or on an annual basis, 12.64% is the appreciation of a home. My point is
huge. Yeah.
So therefore, I love to say this, when people are listening, in the last 5 years, the appreciation of a home in Colorado Springs probably outperformed the rate of return of your mutual fund. How about that? So home ownership here is not only the super pride of your lifestyle at your own home, but you're also going to have a fabulous investment that you'd really look forward to. So to take those same thoughts to even a 10-year appreciation. So in other words, even look to a bigger look. Why? Because sometimes what I'm trying to do is give you a comparison to investment, mutual funds, stocks, bonds, etc. So let's compare it to homes in Colorado Springs. So in the last 10-year appreciation here, once again, we have the median price, the 383, 447,000 in October of 2010, 10 years ago, we were right at $200,000 price of a house. Well, over the last 10 years, that's 91.72%, or once again, 9.17% on an annual basis over a 10-year period.
So Harry, from a practical point of view, and I'm not a math guy, but I get big picture concepts good. So this is because people keep wanting to move there. And that coupled with what we just saw in the video, a lot of new tech growth. And so it looks like that's continuing as well. And so that's the reason for the upswing, right? Now, of course, we don't know what's going to happen next month, never mind next year. But historically, it's been pretty darn good.
Well, not only that, I also like to talk about rate of return. In other words, compare this community to similar secondary size cities around the country. In other words, don't compare always to the bigger cities like a Denver, an LA, a Chicago, Dallas, et cetera.
It's different.
Let's look at a tier 2 city, such as maybe a Tucson, a Boise, Oklahoma City, et cetera, et cetera. So do a comparison like that. But here's what's, again, what I'd like to share with everybody is that last week, the federal government came out with their quarterly growth of housing nationwide. And I shared this to you, and like now the listeners, watchers, to really see what I want to share. So the US prices, the last quarter ending September 30, which was published a week and a half ago. Again, that's by the Federal Housing Finance Agency. So what it shows right here, prices in the third quarter nationwide went up 7.8% over the last year. So what does that really mean? Well, let's take a look again at a comparison to Colorado Springs. So what I shared with you and I sent you is that Colorado Springs from the federal government shows our last 4 quarters, our appreciation was 11.3%. Now, why is there a difference between this and what I mentioned, the 14 to 16%? And the answer is because the statistics here are only within a city versus our MLS, of course, provides the city and some homes in the county. So this only addresses the city.
So the city means within the city limits, not in the suburbs around the city?
That's correct.
So what do you have about the whole metro area?
Well, what this shows is that the top 100 cities across the country, and Colorado Springs here, we're ranked number 5 in the country in terms of growth, strength, and the appreciation. Our number is 11.3% over the last 4 quarters. So once again, even though the statistics are a little different, my point is it's consistent that Colorado Springs and our relative strength is at the very, very top place to live, the appreciation and the quality of homes.
So Harry, about the people who are moving there or who have moved there, would you say it's more people from the Midwest rather than California?
I think we're seeing it for sure now from the bigger cities because of issues, COVID, et cetera. A lot of people really want to leave the bigger cities in USA. They're looking at smaller communities. They're looking at more suburban places that they can live. And we're seeing that nationwide. And what's really important as well is remember that housing today is an extremely bright spot in the economy. And if you can even localize, Colorado Springs, again, we're going to be extremely strong and a place to have a quality of life, great jobs, good income. And oh, by the way, this came out last week. I believe I sent this to you, again, to continue my positive real statistics, because if the real numbers, it's accurate. So our city's pay grew the fastest since 2014. This came out, by the way, last Thursday, November 19th. And the Springs incomes even went up 4.3% in the last year, and the highest since 2014. So not only are we seeing the population growing, what's terrific for the people who are moving here and or living here, upgrading, et cetera, is that the pay here is also growing.
Yeah, that's really good. So there are people who are moving out of the Midwest, primarily as I understand it, as well as people moving out from Denver, and some people trickling in from California and other places. We'll see what happens in the future, but it's a pretty mix, a pretty good mix of Americans, not too much international. Is that right?
That's absolutely correct. And why? Because if you want an all-around quality of life. You want to have a good, strong job. You want to enjoy what happens when you get off of work today, tomorrow, this week, etc. You want to have a great quality of life and a lot of fun to experience. It's here for
So
all,
let me
all
ask
ages.
you about Cheyenne Mountain. Are there public tours or is that lockdown type?
No, that's been closed for decades to the public.
Yeah. Okay. And that's very nearby, right?
Oh, I'm staring right at it. Yes.
That's
And
great.
that is contiguous to neighborhoods in the Broadmoor area.
I see. So the Broadmoor is a fabulous old-fashioned resort with good golf, as I recall it.
Well, absolutely, and just a fabulous, fabulous complex. It's a 5-star. It's the only one in the state of Colorado. People would love to get there. It's just fabulous. Huge, huge golf courses right in the foothills of the Rockies. Um, Everything there is way above standards, and I think they have probably over 20 restaurants, et cetera, et cetera.
Wow,
Lots
that's
of fun.
cool. So what's the nearest ski slope?
Well, when you, let's say from Colorado Springs, 2 hours, you're going to have 4 ski areas from Breckenridge to Keystone to Copper, Anchorage. So we're looking at those 4 areas about 2 hours away.
Now, those are major resorts, but is there something that's smaller, that's closer?
Well, Cooper would be a little smaller. It's more technically, it's called Green Slopes, which is more just cruising versus the high altitude, even like where races take place a lot of time. Of course, all the ski areas as we speak are also having COVID issues today.
Well, hopefully that will change. So, Harry, I've really enjoyed talking with you and learning more about you and also about this fact called Colorado Springs. And where did that name come from? Was that because of the fresh water streaming down the streets or what?
Well, that's a great question, but and once again, it really goes to the quality of life to uh, General Palmer, et cetera, who came here and established our community in the 1870s. And before we say goodbye, I wanted to bring up a few other thoughts to you and the audience, no matter where in the country or around the world. And that's just that market conditions are different today. And because of that, um, uh, whoever you're thinking about, you really need a realtor who is experienced in negotiation today. And why is that? Because nationwide inventory, and I stress this, inventory is at a record low. And exactly. So we need to, again, really, mention that, Ed. And we're seeing multiple offers, and sometimes, we have to also take a look at who the offer is coming from, how clean is it, is the buyer really going to be able to perform, and oh, by the way, what's the credit worthiness of the realtor? So I stress that whether you're a buyer or a seller, do yourselves credit and interview creditworthiness realtors. And
So what does that mean? Credit
well,
worthiness in a realtor.
because in multiple offers, let's just say that some realtors are going to really understand the buyer who's created an offer and they know them inside and out. They were a past client to them. And sometimes maybe they were just somebody who gave them a phone call. Hey, would you write me an offer? So it's extremely important that the realtors who are involved on the listing side and the selling side really can respect each other and come to a plan of negotiating who meets the let's say pro forma for all parties, and a closing is going to happen. Much important today. And the other issue that I want to bring up is because the market conditions are strong, and we've already talked about people are moving from the bigger cities, also take a look at the realtor who you're working with. In a company I'm affiliated with, which is ERA Shields, can you believe that we've also had this year to date, business is strong, and I thought you'd like to hear the number, there's been over 800 referrals just within our office year to date. As of Friday, I got that number, which demonstrates people are moving here, and our company is servicing the transferees. Majority of the realtors in this company have been in the business 20, 30 years. We've known each other for a long time. And I thought that's just something that you and the public would like to know.
So by referrals, you mean inbound referrals?
It could be an inbound, maybe it's an upgrade, maybe to get a bigger job, they're moving, but in this community, we don't have that many who are leaving town. Why? Quality of life, and I've experienced it, and so has every other agent who've been around. If a company says we want to transfer you, they say thank you, but you would rather stay here, and they move employers.
So we've been talking with Harry Salzman. What is your website, Harry?
Thank you very much. It's very simple. It's harry@harrysalzman.com. And by the way, as Ed knows, I've been writing a market letter twice a month since 2003. Always provide local information, and I give a comparison to all markets in the country on a quarterly basis. So I'd be delighted to add you to our newsletter, and it'll provide you with the latest and the best actual data, and every now and then my thoughts on what it would mean to you as a buyer, a seller, upgrader, etc.
Harry Salzman, thanks for being our guest on Global TV Talk Show. This will be sent around the nation and across the world from our website, globalbusinessnews.net. And we'll send you the link, of course, for your own marketing. And that will begin in probably 24 hours. So thanks very much, Harry Salzman. Once again, what's your email?
My email is harry@harrysalzman.com.
Great. Okay. Thanks very much, and have a good day.
And I appreciate.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Okay. Bye, Ed.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us in the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show.
Have a wonderful day, and stay safe.